Hello, students, and welcome to your review of the Clinical Training Handbook. This part of the review will cover pages 16, beginning with professional liability insurance, down to page 22, which includes information about your professional disclosure statement. So let's begin. Professional liability insurance. So graduate students must obtain professional liability insurance before they can begin any practicum or internship training experience. It is important that you understand that you must maintain a liability insurance policy throughout your practicum and internship enrollments. Failure to maintain a liability insurance policy will result in you not being covered if something should happen and a lawsuit is brought against you. It is also your responsibility to make sure that a current copy of your actual professional liability insurance policy statement has been uploaded into Supervision Assist each semester. Again, that's each semester. A simple verification of purchase for policies, such as a payment receipt, does not count as proof of liability insurance coverage. Additionally, since ACA membership is a requirement of graduate students, an attractive feature of this membership for CHD students is that they automatically receive professional liability insurance. The information for that insurance is found below. However, you may obtain professional liability insurance from any company you choose. Professional liability insurance policies can be purchased from the following websites listed here. Professional liability insurance should be obtained at least 2 months before beginning your practicum enrollment. Frequently, it takes several weeks for companies to process applications, so it's definitely act early. Limitations on ACA liability insurance and SPC policy on college breaks. The HPSO professional liability insurance through the ACA is not active while on college breaks. There is no CHD group supervision provided by the program faculty supervisor on college breaks. Students are prohibited from providing counseling services when not enrolled in a clinical experience. So during college breaks, you're not enrolled in a clinical experience, so you're not being supervised and you're not covered by your insurance. So those two make any counseling practice during those college breaks or outside of the time that you're enrolled unethical practice and bordering on illegal practice. So it's important that you are not seeing clients or actively engaging in a clinical experience if you're not enrolled and on a college break. Counselor Preparation Comprehensive Examination, or CPCE. Each student is expected to take the Counselor Preparation and Comprehensive Examination, or CPCE, during Internship 2. This exam is typically given during a group supervision session. The cost for taking the CPCE is $75 and will be paid by the student at the time the exam is given. Graduate students are encouraged to begin preparing for the CPCE as soon as they begin their practicum training. Ethical standards. Practicum and internship functions as a professional setting with a professional staff and real clients. Therefore, professional and ethical conduct on your part is required for your participation in practicum and internship. Toward that end, graduate students adhere to the professional ethics of the counseling professions as advocated by the American Counseling Association. Please familiarize yourself with those ethical standards and consider them binding to your involvement in practicum and internship. A copy of the 2014 ACA Code of Ethics can be found at the following link. In addition to the ACA Code of Ethics, other ethical rules for practicum and internship are listed below. Each practicum and internship site will have its own set of policies and procedures. It is your responsibility to obtain and understand these policies. 1. Video and material from client files are never discussed or shown to anyone other than your supervisor, instructor, or in class as directed by your instructor. Seek permission from your on-site supervisor before discussing a case in class. 2. Information about clients is never requested or released without the client's specific written consent, a copy of which must be kept in the client's file. In the case of a child's client or minor client, a parent or guardian must authorize such action. An exception to this rule is made when it is suspected that the client may be a danger to self or others, or in cases of abuse. The decision to breach the client's confidentiality is never to be made by the graduate student alone. If the need arises, discuss it in detail with your on-site supervisor. Clients need to be advised of these limitations to confidentiality during the intake interview. Clients who are at risk to self or others may not be appropriate for graduate students and may need to be referred to more advanced practitioners. 3. All counseling documents must be reviewed by the on-site supervisor or an appropriate designee. Let's talk about professionalism. While it is difficult and hopefully unnecessary to define and elucidate all aspects of professional conduct here, a few specific guidelines are offered. 1. Please do not talk about clients in halls, waiting areas, or other public areas. Client information is to remain confidential and is to be discussed in supervision and consultation only. 2. Please dress professionally. That is, no sport, casual, or provocative clothing. If you're unsure about what constitutes appropriate dress or how it affects the delivery of effective service, please discuss this with your on-site supervisor or group supervisor. Please keep doors to outside halls closed and locked in order to maintain security of client materials. 4. Familiarize yourself with the procedures of this handbook and of your site and follow them at all times. If after you read and review all of the handbook materials at your site and our handbook, and you have any questions or concerns, please immediately ask your on-site supervisor or group supervisor to find out and clarify for you any information. Apart from reviewing the ACA Code of Ethics and Standards of Practice, be sure to schedule a time for your on-site supervisor to orient you to the expectations of your site. Recommendations for online students using wireless technology. The Counseling and Human Development Online Program would like to identify some best practices for students when connecting to an online practicum or internship course using wireless technology. 1. Best practice would have a student connect to the course through Adobe Connect using a secured Wi-Fi connection. Adobe is SSL encrypted, which should protect against any kind of intrusion regardless of the Wi-Fi. 2. Students should avoid using an unprotected Wi-Fi network. A Wi-Fi network is protected if it requires a password to log on. 3. If a protected Wi-Fi network is not available, students should consider using their cell phone as a personal hotspot. The student's personal hotspot should be password protected. 4. When participating in supervision discussions online, students should use language that de-identifies clients as much as possible. For example, you can change the name, you can use an acronym or initials to identify the client, but please avoid sharing their place of employment, which could possibly identify someone, the area where they live, different things of that nature that may naturally come into you explaining your client's narrative or information. But try as much as possible when you're in peer or supervision online discussions that you're de-identifying as much as possible. 5. Students should find a private location when participating in online practicum or internship online course discussions. 6. Students should use headphones or a headset with a microphone to avoid anyone, even family, from overhearing conversations. A rule of thumb is no family, no pets, no friends, just you, your headset, and your online group. 7. Recording any part of an online discussion is expressly prohibited. Moving on to professional practice materials. So here is an example of your professional disclosure statement. The following is an example of a professional disclosure statement and a counseling contract. Optionally, some students have found it to be beneficial to use this template to create their own professional disclosure statement for distribution to clients at their training site, particularly at sites where chart documentation is less developed. Italicized type like this indicates material for you to substitute with your own data. For example, here the italicized words "your name" should be deleted and your actual name replaced. Let's move on to the professional disclosure statement. So this will be the consent or part of the consent information that you'll provide to clients. And you must read and review it with each client. So we'll do that here so that you can get a sense of about how long it should take, that it's easy to go through, and you can get a sense or a feel for what information you need to de-identify or change in this template. So let's get started. Qualifications. I'm a counseling graduate student in training working towards completion of a master's degree. I'm qualified to provide professional counseling services under the supervision of, and here's where you'd place your supervisor's name. My formal education has prepared me to counsel individuals, groups, and if you are prepared and trained to counsel any other groups or populations, you can add that here. Experience. In my master's program and under supervision, I have counseled, and you want to place at least one individual or one group. Specify any other relevant experience here. And of course, you're not naming your clients' names or any personal information. Nature of counseling. Here, you want to describe your theory of counseling in terms of the general public and in a way that it can be understood by your client. Be sure to include the goals and techniques of counseling. So, for example, if you indicated that my theory of counseling is cognitive behavioral, and it includes goals for change using cognitive tools and strategies to affect change of behaviors. And you just talk about some of the techniques that you might use, thought canceling or changing, any of the techniques that are appropriate for your theory of counseling, but you must explain it and share it in a way that is understandable by your clients. Informed consent, counseling relationship. So, this is again content that you need to replace with your own information. So, during the time we work together, we will meet weekly for approximately 50-minute sessions. So, in this section, you want to put the requirements for your agency or the client requirements. It might be best to put the agency requirements so that you're not using a different set of consents for each client, unless it's absolutely necessary. Or you may want to add a place where you can write it in. Although our sessions may be very intimate psychologically, ours is a professional relationship rather than a social one. Our contract will be limited to counseling sessions you arrange with me, except in a case of an emergency. Please do not invite me to social gatherings, offer me gifts, ask to write references for you, or ask to relate to you in any other way than the professional context of our counseling sessions. You will be best served if our counseling sessions concentrate exclusively on your concerns. And here you go on to explain the effects of counseling. At any time, you may initiate a discussion of possible negatives or positive effects of entering, not entering, continuing, or discontinuing counseling. While the benefits are expected from counseling, specific results are not guaranteed. Counseling is a personal exploration and may lead to major changes in your life, perspectives, and decisions. These changes may affect significant relationships, your job, and or your understanding of yourself. Some of these changes could be temporarily distressing. The exact nature of these changes cannot be predicted. Together, we will work to achieve the best possible result for you. Client rights. Some clients need only a few counseling sessions to achieve their goals. Others may require months or even years of counseling. As a client, you are in complete control and may end our counseling relationship at any time. Though I do ask that you participate in a termination session. You also have the right to refuse or discuss modification of any of my counseling techniques or suggestions that you believe might be harmful. I assure you that my services will be rendered in a professional manner consistent with acceptable legal and ethical standards. If at any time, for any reason, you are dissatisfied with my services, please let me know. If I am not able to resolve your concerns, you may report your complaints to my supervisor. And here you would insert your on-site supervisor's name and number. Referrals. Should you and or I believe that a referral is needed, I will provide some alternatives including programs and or people who may be able to assist you. A verbal exploration of alternatives to counseling will also be made available upon request. You will be responsible for contacting and evaluating those referrals and or alternatives. I will most likely be unavailable to be your counselor until, and here's where you would add in any breaks in your schedule or training, or if your practicum is not beginning until a certain time. If you wish to continue counseling beyond that time, I will provide some continuation or referral options. Cancellation. In the event that you will not be able to keep an appointment, please notify the agency at least 24 hours in advance if possible. My opportunities to gain experience depend upon your attendance. Therefore, if you are absent 2 weeks in a row, I may ask to be assigned a new client, which may make it more difficult for us to schedule appointments together. Likewise, if you intend to discontinue counseling, please inform me as soon as possible so that I may be assigned another client. Records and confidentiality. All of our communication becomes a part of the clinical record. Records are the property of, and here you would insert your agency's name. Adult and minor records will be disposed of in accordance with the agency's policies. Most of our communication is confidential, but the following limitations and exceptions may exist. 1. When I need to use your case records for the purposes of supervision, professional development, and research. 2. If I determine that you are a danger to yourself or someone else. 3. You disclose abuse, neglect, or exploitation of a child, elderly, or disabled person. 4. If you disclose sexual contact with another mental health professional. 5. If I am ordered by a court to disclose information. 6. If you direct me to release your records. 7. If I am otherwise required by law to disclose information. If I see you in public, I will attempt to protect your confidentiality by acknowledging you only if you approach me first. In the case of marriage and family counseling, I will keep confidential, within the limits cited above, anything you disclose to me without your family members' knowledge. However, I encourage open communication between family members, and I reserve the right to terminate our counseling relationship if I judge the secret to be detrimental to the therapeutic process. Access to records of minor children. As clients, minor children and adolescents also deserve the right to privacy and confidentiality. However, it is understood that as a parent, you are responsible for and concerned about your child. Therefore, any verbal summary of your child's session will be provided to you upon request. This summary may include and is not limited to play themes in the case of play therapy, general concerns or issues of the child and the counselor, and progress towards counseling goals. By your signature below, you are indicating that you read and understand this statement. Any questions you had about this statement were answered to your satisfaction, and that you were furnished a copy of this statement. By my signature, I verify the accuracy of this statement and acknowledge my commitment to conform to its specifications. And here would be the printed name of your client and or the parent or guardian. And then here you would indicate if the person is a minor or not. And then the signature of the client and the legal guardian, the date, your printed name, and the printed name of the supervisor. And that concludes our review of pages 16 to 22 of the Clinical Training Handbook. Enjoy your site.